Hey, Luke, you want to talk about another MVNO?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So before we do that, let's talk about what an MVNO is,
Sure.
generally speaking. Uh, so everybody knows, or we say everybody, is familiar with Verizon, AT&T,
Yep.
T-Mobile,
Yep.
and at one time Sprint.
The big players.
Yeah. So that's where a lot of people tend to gravitate when it comes to cell phone service.
Yep.
But they are not the only players in the game.
Nope.
They have pretty much the only towers
Yeah.
in the space, but they're not the only players in the game in terms of service providers
Right.
or companies who provide a wireless service, cell phones, hotspots, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So these other companies that kind of license that, they're mobile virtual network operators, MVNO, and some of them are, you'll find retail stores. You've probably seen more than a few of them driving by. Boost Mobile, Metro by T-Mobile, Cricket. Some of those are MVNOs. So each of them has their own kind of rate plans, customer service, reasons to maybe sign up or to consider them. And then for some people, they are a very good alternative. So today we'll talk about one specifically.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Ultra Mobile.
Okay.
And we'll just kind of go through 7 things that people should know or might want to know to kind of help maybe push them in the direction or away from.
Sure.
Based off of their needs.
Okay.
So I'll hit you with the questions.
Go for it.
Ultra Mobile. What network does it use?
It uses T-Mobile's towers for its service.
Okay. And that is something to keep in mind when it comes to benefits or drawbacks of MVNOs. It still uses the same coverage as T-Mobile. Should have pretty much the same footprint. Maybe some pockets where it's not the same. Speeds and coverage are usually reserved for the people who subscribe to the tier 1 directly.
Right.
But then in times of congestion or heavy usage in areas that may be slowed.
Right.
So that's something to kind of keep in mind.
Yeah. So, for instance, in somewhere like New York City, T-Mobile customers would have good service. If it's a busy time, holidays or something like that, Ultra Mobile, you might experience a little bit slower data.
Sure.
Maybe a dropped call, but usually what it affects is your data speeds.
Yeah.
So
if I want to, I have an issue or a question with Ultra Mobile, can I go to an Ultra Mobile store? Do they have retail stores?
They do have very few retail stores spread out across the country. They do have some options in big box stores like Target and Best Buy to get devices or to get service, but generally any kind of support that you would need would be online.
And that's one of the other differences generally is that if you don't require a lot of hand holding, if you don't need to call customer care for issues, you're able to kind of, understand your service and you don't have issues with hardware or anything. It saves you a little bit of money because you're not paying. They aren't trying to cover the cost of full retail experience. They're not trying to.
You're not paying other people's, retail workers' salaries.
Yeah.
They're not transferring that cost into your service.
Yep. So if I'm a person who has a phone already and I'm like, hey, Ultra Mobile sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Can I take my phone there?
You can. Most unlocked, meaning can be used with any network, GSM device. So any device that would take a SIM card should be able to be used.
Yeah. So that's if you have a phone from T-Mobile, AT&T, where you bought it unlocked, starting to become more common.
Yep.
Like a Google Pixel or Samsung if you bought it direct. Go to Best Buy. There's a lot of phones that you can buy outright now, unlocked, and you can use those, especially if they're GSM.
Yep.
You have no issues then.
Yep.
So can you tell me a little bit about their rate plans?
Yeah. So they have a range of anywhere from $15 up to $60 a month.
Okay.
And those get you unlimited talk, text, and then a certain amount of data based on the price. So If you go with the $60 a month, you're going to get unlimited 5G and data. And then for the lower rate plan, you might be looking at 2 gigs or something like that.
Okay. So a lot of these plans, as I'm looking at them, they come with a bucket of data. So that would be 5G, 4G, up to a certain point, and then it would be considered throttled or slowed.
Right.
So you would still have access to your data.
It's still unlimited. You're not going to be paying data overages, but after a certain bucket, you would then move down to a slower speed.
Right. All right. And I did kind of cheat one of these questions here. Does Ultra Mobile have 5G?
Sure does. Yeah. It's the same service that, like we said, T-Mobile uses. So anywhere T-Mobile has 5G, you should be able to have Ultra Mobile 5G as well.
So can I buy a phone from Ultra Mobile?
Yeah. Yeah. They have most actually of MVNOs that we see. They usually have a very good selection of current devices, of the newer things. Sometimes with MVNOs, you'll see, past year's devices as their newer phones. But Ultra, you can get the same phone that you would at, one of the big guys. They offer those. So most of your iPhones, your Samsung Galaxy, Google Pixel, all that kind of stuff, you're going to be able to get.
And I see here on their website too that you can do payment plans through Affinity or Affirm.
Yep.
If you need to kind of spread that out.
Yep.
So I also see, flip phones and some of the other stuff where that's something that in the past MVNOs weren't quite as like you would get maybe 2 years ago's flagship phones, a generation or two behind. So looks like a nice selection here.
Yeah.
And then the last question, do they have any special deals?
So they offer deals for handsets when you come in, sign up for service, and then every once in a while they have rate plan deals. But most of those are just ever changing. So you just check as you go. And
I think they might be one of the ones that give you discounts if you prepay some of your plans. So looks like there are, if you go to their website, ultramobile.com/deals, they're going to give you kind of like a landing page of things that you can find. So, so that should, I would say, be enough to kind of help somebody get an understanding or maybe pique their interest if they're considering Ultra Mobile.
Yeah. MVNOs are a great option for somebody, especially if you live in an area that has generally good coverage. You're going to get the same service that you would from a bigger carrier without the same price tag and usually no contract. The caveat is that there are chances that your coverage will change based on usage of the tier 1 customers, like you said, and that you provide either paying for a device up front or a payment plan, or you provide your own device. Those are usually the key factors to remember when you're looking at an MVNO. But if you are able to, you have no qualms about buying a phone outright yourself and then going, you usually can save some money with an MVNO.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you, Luke.
No problem.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything, shoot us an email at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Luke, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Luke Gaul, Gaul.
And I'm on Instagram at Scott Webster and Twitter as SWebster77. Until next time, thanks for listening.
See ya.